Hey guys, welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the He-219 Eagle Owl. There's definitely a German pronunciation for this, but I'm not gonna try it. So, in case it wasn't obvious, this thing is a night fighter. And it sits at 4.3, rank 4, which means it is an excellent choice to grind for jets. I actually ground out my He-229 using this, and well, let's just say I thought American cannons were shotguns. Anyway, again, if it weren't obvious by the fact that it's a night fighter, this thing has some radar. That's what those weird little antennas are on the front of the nose. It only reaches out to a range of 4 kilometers, and, it's okay. It's okay. It hasn't really saved me, but it hasn't really... it's there. It doesn't impact performance all that much, and it can sometimes help you. What more do you want? Now, the real selling point of this thing is not the radar. It's the 6 cannons it's got. You've got 4 30mm cannons, 2 Mark 108s and 2 Mark 103s, and 2 20mm cannons. They're MG-151s, so yeah, basically no light armament on the aircraft, which is kind of satisfying to see. The only downside is, really, you got no tailgun. But fine, I'll live. Actually, no, I won't. Moving on, the engines, they're powerful, but they overheat quickly and often. But at the same time, they're German inline engines, so they cool off pretty well, pretty nicely, so it's not too big of a deal. It's very easy to manage. And the other thing, in case it wasn't clear, is this is a big aircraft. It is huge. You can kind of get some reference from the pilots sitting in the cockpit. Well, one's a radio operator, but I digress. Yeah, thing's huge. But despite that, it's got a good roll rate. For its size, you would think that with all this pressure on the wings, it wouldn't. But it does, at speed. And it turns pretty well at speed. But you bleed energy when you turn, so you don't want to turn. That's the easiest way to get yourself killed. Now, moving straight into the battle, we can see a Beaufighter in front of us, which is essentially the British version of me. And, he gone. Unfortunately, one of his it's either a 50 cal or a 20 mil on that model, I think. It hit my engine, of course, and it's amber right off the bat, so... We're kind of living on borrowed time at this point, because I don't think this thing can make it home on 2 engines, it's got 2 engines. I don't think it can make it home on 1 engine, unless you have decent altitude. That being said, we've still got 4 30mm cannons in our nose. Those weren't hit by shells, so those still work, and we're going to use them. As I'm doing the cardinal sin of air combat, flying straight, you can see how relatively quick this thing is, given its size. We were going, 450, almost 500? That's pretty good, for a fighter this size. Sometimes I feel lucky when I get that speed in my Mustang at this altitude. That's a joke. Anyway, yeah, and of course, since we're committing cardinal sin, there will come somebody to make us answer for that. And no, it wasn't in the form of the Spanish Inquisition, though I wouldn't have expected that. It comes in the form of a Spitfire, which is arguably worse. Although, given the attack angle that this Spitfire took, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. You can see him there, 2.7 out. I immediately put it into a right-hand turn into him in order to get all my 20 mils on target, because that's the only hope I have is a head-on pass. And thankfully, he obliges me, and I will admit I got really lucky with the amount of sparks that he had on my wing. But some of this game is honestly luck. There's definitely a skill element to it, but sometimes what it comes down to is luck. especially in head-on passes. So, I'm not complaining. The thing I am going to complain about, though, is that now both of my engines are amber. So, remember what I said about living on borrowed time? Well, now it's absolutely borrowed time. So, we're going to have to make it count. Now, at this point, there was a PBJ that was hunting down, destroying all of our ground targets. I think it was mostly lighter ground targets, but still, I wanted to find him and pay him a visit. Unfortunately, I can't find him, so I'm just going to go ahead and kill some AI IL-2s. You know, they're there. I was grinding my He-219 at this point, so I really wanted the extra SL and RP, so I feel okay. And plus, this thing has so much ammo, it really doesn't matter. I don't know what kind of maneuver that was either. I don't know why I did that. Style points or something? We'll see. No, we won't. I get shot down, I think. But, well, that IL-2 was definitely shot down. You can see just how brutal a 30 mils can be when they connect. I mean, granted, a single 20 mil can also be just as brutal, but when you got 4 30 mils, I looked at the 1 second burst mass on this thing, and I think it's north of 15 kilograms a second, which is a lot more than that PBJ has. Now, I was kind of hoping he was the 75mm cannon variant, but actually it just occurred to me I don't know what that thing's BR is, but he's the 50 cal variant, so I'm terrified. Brown alert. Just kidding. I have 430 mils. What am I saying? So we take him down pretty easily. Although we definitely look a little bit worse for wear. At this point, power's failing. I'm not going to be able to make it back to base because this map is really weird in the airfield placement. I mean, it's traditional, but like C, or one of the points, I think it's C, is around an airfield, but you can't land and repair there, so I don't know. I ended up landing in a field somewhere, and fortunately we're outside of Berlin. But that doesn't stop Hans, the intrepid German night fighter pilot, because he's back in the battle, this time on the map Advance to the Rhine. Now, most of AirRB is admittedly climbing to space and seeing nothing up there, diving down, and finding your team gone. So I'm going to accelerate it to where the fun begins. Well, I kind of lied. There's nothing really going on. There is a P-61 at high altitude that is about to be taken out by an Me-264. Oh boy, do I have words for the Me-264. But that's a video for another time. There's also... there are 2 P-61s up there, which is a little... makes me a little nervous, because the P-61 has 420mm cannons and the laser beam of a rear gun that those things have. So I'm going to keep my distance. And as I do, maybe try to gain a little bit more altitude, you can see we're sitting at 3K meters. Well, we were until I saw the 3 targets below me, one of which is a really nice, juicy brigand. I thought about going after the P-51. Oh, and there you can see the radar working, sort of. But decided against it. They went for me, and I don't know if I juked them or what, but they're not on my 6 anymore, and I'm about to slot in on this P-47. Thought about going for the brigand, but my teammate's on him. Didn't manage to kill him, but I digress. We shot down a P-47 right there, took his wing off, and we're burning out of the area. Okay, I lied again. We're turning back for this P-38, who is stall climbing for an SM-91. That was weird. Stall climbing for an SM-91. I don't know where those shells came from. They were 50 cals, but I guess they were for the 109. Get a fire on the P-38. He's going down. He's going to try to shoot down our SM-91, I think that was. But not going to happen. And now we've got 3 planes in front of us, one of which is a P-47 that's relatively slow. Certainly slower than the P-51. So we're going to send a few shells his way and take his wing. I thought of going after that P-51, but the brigand was a much more inviting target. mainly because the P-51 was pulling a really high energy maneuver that I couldn't match and hope to stay alive. I wish I had checked my right side, because then I might have seen this VB 1002 coming in and I might have gotten a 5th kill, but I didn't. I rammed him, and somehow managed to keep the plane flying, but not for long, because there's blood in the water and the sharks are going to come and shoot me down. So, with all that said, let's take a look at the He-219 itself. Okay, welcome to the hangar. This is the He-219 in all its glory. It is a really good looking aircraft, I have to say. So, taking a look at the stat card, you can see 624 kph max speed. I think we may have exceeded that in a couple of the matches, but that was in dives. So, always take the stat card with a grain of salt. It can be accurate, but really, I never trust it. I just fly things based on how they respond in matches. So, yeah. And that's at the height of 6,700 meters. And I've never taken this thing up to 6,700, let alone 10,400. So, turn time, rate of climb, pretty mediocre. It's a big plane. But again, stat card, so take it as you will. Armor-wise, it's decent. I mean, you got a 12mm steel plate right at the front here. No bulletproof glass, though, which is a bit unfortunate. And then the seat is protected by 8mm of steel. Same with the radar operator's spot. X-ray-wise, I really like this thing's fuel tank arrangement, except for these two at the back of the nacelle. It's just compact. I like it. It's, yeah, I like it. And this is the radar box. That wouldn't have been there a couple patches ago. Is that also radar? Oh, son of a gun. Yes, it is. Control surfaces, and, okay, so here are the Mark 108s. These are the low-velocity ones, I believe. So, the slow-firing. There's one of your 20mm, and then the other 30 mils, yeah, the Mark 103s. These are the high-velocity ones that have the really nice HVAP round. Are both located in the underbelly. Very similar to the P-61. So, if the velocities weren't that different, maybe they're not. It doesn't tell me. Interesting. Huh, I wish it told you muzzle velocity. Anyway, modifications-wise, I was just there. These are the belts that I run. I run the air targets because of mining shots. Air targets, again. Oh wow, there's a 30mm mining shot. I didn't realize that. And of course the night shells. This just gives you the most HE per volley. And honestly, that's what you need when you're in ARB. But you don't always play ARB, so this thing is decent as a ground attacker. Like I said, this 30mm HVAP, really nice penetration. 65 or 95mm. Wait, what has 65? Oh, this thing has 45, 60, and 60. Yeah, so 95mm of pen. You can, at its BR, it can pen just about anything, I think. Let me take a look at the Sherman. Well, maybe not the Sherman. Yeah, well, it's technically a Sherman. So what was it, 95? Oh yeah, you go clean through the side of this thing. And then if you're coming in from above, which honestly you should, only 19mm. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty good. We want this. Yeah. So, I guess I can show you the crew skills I have. I'm still kind of grinding this guy out, or this crew out. Yeah, nothing special, but oh yeah, let's take a look at the boosts you get. So, as it's a premium vehicle, you get 320% RP boost. And Silver Lions wise, it's 380%. Pair that with a booster of any kind, and yeah, you're going to be grinding jets in no time. As I said, whoops, that's not what I want. I was able to grind out the last 45,000 RP for the He-219 in about 2 nights. So, pretty nice. And yes, I'm going for the G91 because, well, it's a long way from my Italian tree. So, yeah, different plane, but similar enough. I mean, it's a G91 with 30 mils. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. In fact, we're not here to talk about anything else. That is all I have to say about the He-219 A7. It's a pretty damn cool plane, and I'm surprised I didn't mention this. I think this is one of those aircraft that was designed by a community member, like the model, the damage model, the visuals, everything you see, all the data was made by somebody in the War Thunder community. So every time this plane is bought, I mean, it's available for Golden Eagles, but every time it's bought, that person gets a cut of the revenue, which I think is really cool. I think that is also true of the Ta-154, and I thought maybe it's the Ju-288 that's true for. But I know there's one other, like, German aircraft that is true. I wanted to say it was the He-177, but I'm not sure. If you know, sound off in the comments if you care to. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you for staying around. Leave a like if you want to. If not, that's cool too. Consider subscribing. I'm trying to make more videos. So, yeah, it'd be awesome if you chose to stick around. Anyway, it's getting awkward now. I will see you later. Bye.